and welcome to the TheROCKATX online worship experience. You're getting ready to experience God on another level. Whatever you're seeking from God for your life is available for you as you praise, hear the word, and transform your situation. While you're worshiping with us, feel free to interact with our online ministers in the chat and share this broadcast with your friends and family so they can join you online. Also, make sure you subscribe and follow TheROCKATX on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to stay connected to all The Rock is doing. Now, shake off the worries of the week and get ready to give God some praise. Service will begin soon.
Always starts when we have a problem with the way the resources are allocated. So, pastor can only give so much time and attention. So, I don't know why he's giving them more attention than me. Daddy, mommy can only give so much time and attention. So, I don't understand why daddy and mama drove you to the prom, but told me to catch an Uber. See, some of y'all say that's messed up. See, that's because you didn't feel like the resources were allocated fairly. Conflict always busts out when you feel like there's an unequal or unjust allocation of either money, attention, power, food, whatever resources that are available. You're always looking to say, well, when that person who I respect walked in, they saw Tommy and they said, "Hey, Tommy," and then they walked by me and didn't say nothing. Conflict about to start because now you are now comparing their attitude with Tommy to the attitude with you. What's wrong with me? Everybody don't have to be Tommy. Tommy ain't no better than me. I don't understand why you say hello to Tommy. And I'm just like I don't even matter. Allocation for resources. Am I making sense? Now let me help you with this. In the Bible, somebody says, "Well, right, that's why I don't want to go to. That's why I don't like going to church." But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is that the Bible says in heaven. Now, God's just. God's perfect, right? So we can argue that God's just and God's perfect. We can even argue that God's a perfect leader. But in heaven, Lucifer had a problem with the allocation of resources. He was like, why am I doing all this work and leading praise service and directing the choir and everything? Ain't nobody worshiping me, and everybody clapping their hands and looking at you and everything else. And I'm trying to figure out, wait a minute now, I think I deserve some of this stuff. An allocation of resources. Am I making sense? Whenever you're having a problem with somebody, it's because there is somewhere in your mind where you're saying that there is a misallocation of power, prestige, personal attention. Am I making sense? Privilege. Why do you get to sit over there and I had to move down? Am I making sense? And so you always have problems. If you don't know it, have kids. Now I'm saying, notice I said kids. Listen, even if you have one, I'm going to show you this. You have one child. The child's going to say, "Mommy, why are you looking at Daddy? You should be looking at me." And you're like, because your child is saying, you're misallocating your resources. Am I making sense? Making sense? So we've got to be careful now because we have to understand that whatever happens, when it pops off in your mind, it is because somebody in your mind, you're saying, that wasn't right. He gave him too much attention. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. He smiled at them. He didn't smile at me. That wasn't right. He laughed when they gave a joke, but when I said something, he said, "Let's move on." Allocation of resources. I'm making sense. Makes sense. And so I want you to understand, this happens not just in church, but it happened when? In heaven. In heaven, the enemy said that I got a problem with how he's running things. And then the enemy started having meetings with angels and talking to them about the misallocation of resources. And he said, I will be like him. I will put my throne above his throne. I will do this. And the Bible says, in the perfect scenario, a war broke out in heaven. So I want you to understand something. The devil, Lucifer, is the enemy to community. He hates community. He hates it. He hates it. Am I making sense? So much so that even when Adam and Eve had it going on, who came down and messed with them? The enemy. And then he started talking to Eve about resources. God's concerned. He said you couldn't have that. He know what he knows. If you get that stuff right there, you're going to be like him. So you got to be careful, because the dissension in the community always happens when somebody has an issue and then they put their issue on you. You have to be careful, because when you're in church, you got to watch. See, what I always tell people, what they don't understand is if I'm standing in front, I can see everything that's happening. So I can see when I say, we need to love God, I can look at Sister Jones. And Sister Jones is looking at me, and she don't think I'm looking at her. And she looks over at Sister Smith. Sister Smith like, and I'm like, I can watch you. And listen, you think I don't know who you sitting to? Because they go like this. and I literally watch it, and I'm like, here they go. That's a mess flying around. There it is, right there. It's back and forth, back and forth. And we all, I know as a pastor who you don't like. And whose team you on. There are some people that are on teams permanently. There are some people that are on teams conveniently. And my convenient people can't be trusted. Because it just depends on what the team is talking about. You become whatever. Am I making sense? I always watch out for somebody who's everybody's friend. Everybody's friend is nobody's friend. And if they're talking to you about somebody else, they believe that even though you say you're their friend, they believe that you are vulnerable, you are weak, and that you have the ability to be swayed. That's why they bring it to you. That's how it works. Wow. Satan went and had meetings with angels in heaven. I want you to understand. He had meetings with angels in heaven. He put on a calendar invite and had meetings with angels in God's domain. Because conflict over resources is always inevitable. Am I making sense? Now, I'm going to show you this. Can I give you this, help you understand? Let's see. I'm going to show you this. This is my next point. You can work there. Right, perfect. The problem with community is this, that in community, I'm supposed to be thinking about everybody else. But most of us have a hard time thinking about how my decision affects everybody else, or we don't care. All right? So I'm gonna use my examples here. So let's see who I'm gonna use. Jalil, I want you, if you grab a case of water. This case of water. Jalil is a man, and we said that you have rights to this much water. As long as you use this much water, you good. Why? Because Richard, will you put on the cowboy hat for me? And will you grab your cattle? Stay right there. No, you stay right there. Now, Richard. Now, Richard, come right here. Come right here. So now, the reason why we tell Jalil that he can only have this much water is because Cowboy Richard, he raises cattle. And he has to and he has to make sure that the cattle have enough water to do what they do. I'm making sense. So we say, we say, Jalil, don't worry, you can have that much water all day long, because and as long as you have that much water, then his cattle are gonna be good. Why do we need his cattle to be good? Reggie, will you bring those bags over here? Those bags of those bottles. Can you help him? You need some help? Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So because you're good. So set these bottles up right here. Let's set them up. Just take them out and put them up. Because when his cows get enough milk, they can produce milk. This much milk. Can we bring the other bottle, please? The other bag, please. So now, Richard needs his cows to have that water so that his cows can produce this milk. All right, right? Let me see the bag, Charles. You can stand right here. So now, Charles, why does Richard need the cows to produce the milk? Because Charles has to have this much milk to take care of him and his family. So, as long as he can have this much water, right? So that he can feed his cows, so his cows can produce this much milk, so that Charles will have milk. All right? Right. Now, hey, Reggie, go on my desk and pull out and that cash I got to sit up there. That's called a son thinking he's going to get some money. Why? Because every time Charles has to, Reggie, come here. Every time Charles has to buy milk, he has to give Reggie, the grocery man, some money, just give him $1, so that he can buy his milk, right? This is how it works, right? Now, if you can imagine, the system works perfectly as long as everybody taking care of the resources. He's taking care. You can drink this much water, you good. Then they'll take care of your cows. You take care of your cows, because you're gonna supply milk to the grocery store, and Charles is gonna buy milk for his family. Come here, Tay, because Tay likes milk. Am I making sense? So now this system is working perfectly as long as everybody's doing their thing, right? Right. Here's the problem. So let me see. Let me see. Griselle, come here for a second. Will you grab another case of water? You can grab all. You can grab all of them. Go ahead. We know you in shape. We know you work out. See there? Make me sick. I always got a flaw. So now, here's the problem. Jalil decides that he wants to take, and Jalil says, my decision don't matter. Thank you. Because I'm gonna drink whatever I want to drink. Right? The problem then, so when he makes his decision to drink whatever he wants to drink, and run his shower when he's singing. He turned the shower on, then he go on the phone, he watch ESPN, everything else. He brushed his teeth with the water running, everything else. And he turned the sprinkler on every day in the wintertime, everything else. And so it makes sense. But it don't matter because it's what he wants. I'm making sense. He's not thinking about anybody else. He's thinking about who? Himself, right? So now, Richard then, he loses his fat cow because his fat cow, he don't have enough water for him. So his fat cow got to go away, right? And now Richard got one little baby cow, right? One little sad cow. So now his sad cow can only produce this much milk. So now Reggie says, well, the price got to go up. So now Charles wants some milk to take care of his family. And now Charles' family is like, man, where the milk? And so then Charles had to go back. Am I making sense? So now, what happened? Now, where was the problem? With the decision not to think about community, but to think about himself. And then he said, but Moody, if you in my community, no, come on, let's take a seat. Man, I like being with you, man. Can I have another one? Man, thank you. So now, we having a good time, you know, and we taking care of our community. All right, it's just me and mine, right? Right, and we loving life, right? What happens to Richard? And so now, look, brother, Brother Warren said, now we're going to be eating T-bones. So now we eat the cow. Now we ate the cow, right? Richard now is what? Out of business. So now it mess up who? Because Reggie now only has this much milk to sell. So now when Charles wants milk, he got to give him everything. And why? Because somebody didn't think about the community. Am I making sense? And most of our problem is this. We never think about how our individual decision affects the entire community. You just say, I wasn't feeling good today, so I didn't. I just wanted it, so I did. Am I making sense? And you don't realize that there's always a domino effect. So now Richard's out of work. Grocery store went under. Charles broke, so Tay divorces him. Charles miserable. Am I making sense? And who's happy? Thank you. This happens every time. Come on, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Yeah, you can take it off. And so now this happens in church. It happens with resources. It happens every day, all day. There are people that say, it don't matter what I do. I'm just going to take care of mine. And as I take care of mine, everybody else got to do what they got to do. Everything. And so what happens is now your decisions, your individual decisions, start impacting everybody else down the line. Now, there's an African proverb that I love. It says this: you cross the river in a crowd, and the...
Thank you for worshiping with us today. If you're in need of prayer or someone to talk to, Our online ministers are available for you right now in the chat. And we invite you to join us again for our extraordinary worship services every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Sunday at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, where Dr. Moody teaches how to understand the Bible, and you can get your biblical questions answered. We look forward to connecting with you and ask that you subscribe to The Rock ATX on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to all The Rock is doing. Also, you can connect with us through our website at TheROCKATX.org. Again, thank you for worshiping with us, and be blessed.